All right, we're a couple minutes after. Welcome, one and all. My name is Michael Wilson. I'm your Deputy Scout Executive here in San Jose, California for the Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council. We're here tonight to talk about wonderful Camp High Sierra. This meeting is being recorded. We will be sharing it afterwards, including the slide deck. We're going to be utilizing the chat feature to be able to ask questions. So just want to make sure you guys all see that. Prompt in there. We expect well over 100 folks today. Really appreciate everybody making some time to have High Sierra be as successful as it can be for the youth that you are bringing to camp. I'm going to introduce our team. First of all, we have Bruce Lee, our camp director. I'll let him introduce himself and then hand it off to his next team member.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce. I am the camp director again this year. This is going to be my 12th season. Looking forward to meeting and seeing all of you at camp again this summer. I'm going to pass it off to Michael Conover now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Conover. I have the honor of being the program director again for this year. I'm super excited to have all of you show up to camp. I'll pass it on to Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Lakovic. I'm serving this year as the assistant camp director and the head commissioner. First year back in a while, I was back in the 80s, but looking forward to working with everybody. And I'll pass it on to Danny.
Hi, I'm Janet, and I'm the office manager at the council. And, I'm the person behind the scene. If you need to make any changes, any payment, any payment movement, anything at all, it's me.
And hello, my name is Danny. I'm the assistant program director this year, so I'll be supporting Michael, Bruce, and Tom, as well as helping with our CIT and SPL program up at camp.
Perfect. Wonderful, everybody. Now we're going to go back to Bruce for our safety moment.
All right. Just an important talk about healthy living at camp. We may be past the COVID, having to wear masks, making sure everybody gets tested beforehand, but we still want to remember that scouts do get sick, and it is important to check your scouts before you leave to come to camp, because you want to look for symptoms such as the common cold, fever, stomach challenges, and make sure that your scouts are healthy, because you would hate to have scouts come to camp and end up being sick and possibly getting more scouts in your troop sick on the way up and then having to go home, and possibly more of your troop or the whole troop needing to go home. So it's much nicer to have, if you do have a sick scout, either have them come late, or we'd be more than happy to have them come up another week. So again, just it's a small community, and we're looking forward to having everybody up there, and hopefully they'll be healthy this year. All right, thanks, Michael.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we will make sure we do is any of the resources that we talk about, I'll be doing a follow-up email either late tonight or tomorrow morning. But those resources are always posted, at least this year and a year back, on our Camp High Sierra website, on our resource page. So there's a bunch of great information up there. Love when an adult leader points out an inconsistency or something that they have a question about. This scouting community can make us all better and answer questions that we might have not thought of or seen. If there's a question that is unclear, let us know and let's solve it together. So things that are on that posted now are the Leader's Guide, Saga Guide, which is on our Camper Society. The New to Camp webinar that we did a couple weeks ago was posted there. Our Mayor Badge offerings and many more things. So please take a moment to visit that in the future. And as I said at the beginning of this slide deck and the presentation will be the presentation tonight. I'll kick it back to Bruce.
All right. So hopefully most of you have already been to camp once before, but if not, here's a very busy map of our camp. It's brand new. I love the animation on this stuff. Not animation, but just the way it's been drawn. If you notice the river going down the middle of camp, most of our program area is on the flat area just to the right, where you can see Trail to Eagle, climbing, archery, scoutcraft. Above that, up the hill, is where all of our campsites are. There are shower buildings for the north end of the camp and the south end of the camp. And then on the other side of the river is where we have our dining hall and health lodge and administrative areas. All right, next slide, please. All right, so vehicles in camp, we do have a new paved parking lot. So we've been taking your recommendations to try to knock down the dust. And so hopefully it won't be quite as dusty when you come into camp this year, but it is still the same size. So please try to carpool when you come in, so we can park everybody. It's just one road in and one road out, and we have limited parking. So please do not have your parents drive each individual scout. And as I say, carpool. No cars can drive across the river, and no cars can drive up to the campsites themselves. And we have very limited areas for overnight parking for people that just want to spend Sunday night into Monday. So, all right, next slide, please. All right, this is me again. So just to make sure, one of the things that we will do in Black Pug is all of your adults that are going to come up and spend the week with us, we're going to make sure that they're YPT compliant, that they've done their mandating reporting, and they've done their live scan. So everybody over 18 has to go through that process. Even if you're coming in midweek, or if you're spending the night at all, you need to be through that process. And then everybody has to have the medical health forms, part A, B, and C. If you're staying more than 72 hours, so if you have somebody that's just coming in for a couple of days, if it's over 72 hours, they have to have all 3 parts. If it's under 72 hours, they can get away with just parts A and B, but we will be collecting both. All right. So again, required paperwork, very important that we're going to have parts A, B, and C, and we're going to talk about the medical forms and the changes to that in a little bit here. We do have the ability, so if you do collect your health forms with your troop, you can bring them to the council office and we can review them. So by the time you get up to camp, they've already been pre-checked, and that will speed you through our health lodge process. That is a huge win for you guys, and it's a huge win for us. Basically, we'll pre-check all the health forms. So when you get to camp, all we need to do is talk to the scouts that have special health conditions, or the adults, and then just put the bans on everybody. Kaiser seems to have their own form for the Part C. We're not trying to fight that. We'll be able to take it. But just remember to make sure on there that you have your current vitals signs recorded on there, because we have in the past had the Kaiser form, but then they don't do any vitals. So we do need that. We need the shooting sports release form. We only need 1 copy, even though it says on the form you need 4 copies. We have a process in place that 1 copy will do just fine. And here's something I see we need to remove: the parent commit to transport. That was more part of the COVID phase, but we are assuming that if you do have a sick scout in camp, you will come and pick them up in a timely manner. And that's basically what that was covering. And again, there's another one: test before they come to camp. It would be lovely if everybody can test. If you do need to test when you're in camp, you're going to need to bring your own tests. We will not have any available this summer, it looks like. Okay. Michael.
Perfect. So probably the biggest change for this year is what I'm going to talk about for the next 2 slides. We have partnered with CampDoc, which is the only Scouting America approved vendor to bring in what is truly digitized health records. So this is going to be an optional program this year. You can opt in, and each troop will need to make that decision. So we're looking for troops to want to do this. What are the advantages? Why do this? We'll talk about that in a little bit. What it is basically taking the A and B information and answering it inside a secure website called CampDoc, and then uploading your Part C as an image to CampDoc. It makes sure that all the questions and all the fields that are required are done by the parent prior to arrival. No more trips to Sonora for somebody that doesn't have something. No more extended wait times. No more trying to see if somebody signed something or can't do this. It really is intended to speed up and to streamline this. So we're asking troops to opt into this and help us, our health lodge, and our organization see if it's the right fit for us to do something more with in the future. So we're asking for those units that want to participate and put their names forward to be considered to do so by May 1st. We have a QR code and a link in here to be able to do that. And I'll talk about what it kind of does and the benefits. No more paper forms. This is going to take care of all the permissions, including shooting sports, all in one place. Everything is online. It can be done mobile, tablet, or a desktop computer. We're going to have the information ahead of time, and so we can give ahead of time feedback. The scout leader will also be able to see status. We'll designate the adult in charge in that so they can see it as well. And if you are a part of our council, this will be something that will be able to be utilized beyond summer camp as well. And so excited for that opportunity. Really is a mobile friendly platform. This program will take signups for May 1st. We're going to give feedback to those that are selected that following week. And the forms are due at least one. You get locked out and can't make changes a week ahead of time. So that's something that we're excited about and being able to offer. And we'll be sending out a specific targeted email about CampDoc after this meeting as well. I'll pause and see if there's any more chat questions. All right, seeing none. Moving on. So Bruce, I think, has the traditional medical check-in.
Yeah. So for the traditional medical forms, again, we would like you not to staple the permission slips to the forms because those go into separate piles once you get to camp. We want to make sure that you don't forget that everybody needs to have a tetanus shot, and that's one of the things we're going to be looking for. We are a old lumber mill, and metal does seem to creep up out of the ground every so often, and we haven't had anybody with puncture wounds or anything lately, but we want to keep it that way. And if we do actually accidentally get something, we want to make sure we don't have to send somebody for tetanus shots or something like that. If you're raising your hand, we'll get to those type of questions later, or you can put them in the chat. Let's see, health forms, shooting sports. Again, the commitment to pick up. I could have sworn we took all these out. When you bring up your medicines for the scouts, please put them in the prescription bottles they came in. And the way we do prescriptions is we give a locked medical box to each campsite, and it's up to the scoutmaster to give out the medicine to your own scouts, just like if you're on a camp out or something like that. If there is medication that needs to be refrigerated, it more than can be stored at the health lodge. And then if your scout or yourself has either an EpiPen or a rescue inhaler, that will stay with the scout or the adult leader the whole trip. Because it doesn't make sense to have an EpiPen up at your campsite, and if you get stung by a bee on the other side of the river and the time it would take, it's kind of defeats the purpose. Not that we have a lot of bees or anything, but all right, next slide.
All right, so I get to talk a little bit about the Saga of High Sierra. So the Saga of High Sierra is one of our kind of supplemental programs that we have up at camp. And it's mainly our service organization up at camp. So for those of you that have been to other summer camps and are just now coming to Camp High Sierra, our service organization is a little bit more hands-on, and we focus on stories that we call it the Saga of High Sierra because it focuses on stories that we go through life and through our experiences up at camp. So we have 4 ranks predominantly, which are Seeker, Guardian, Trailblazer, Legend. Scouts will go through the week, earn a whole bunch of beads, and adult leaders can pick all of those up at the office, and we'll have a kind of ceremony for that on Friday night after the campfire. Next slide, please.
This one's mine. We're excited to be adding additional facilities to serve youth better in camp. Last summer, we opened a brand new rifle range and cowboy action range. John Stevenson, longtime rifle director for us, had a rifle range named after him, and the cowboy action range was named after one of our longtime benefactors. The observatory, it was under construction last year and will be ready for Scouts this year. We have some amazing dark skies, and we will now have an observatory for the Scouts to be able to step in and look at and see what's going on around them. We also wanted to make sure that we continue to embrace the fact that we are a 4-season camp. If you follow us on Facebook, you would have seen today that we got about 16 inches of snow, and we'd love for you guys to continue to utilize camp in the winter. We also can cut down on the dust by making sure our parking lot's a solid surface. So really excited about these improvements and what they're doing. We also have 4 brand new pavilions, program teaching areas with secure storage, as well as a covered area for inclement weather. And so, great question in the chat about the observatory. Replacing. It augments, doesn't replace. It is an additional thing. We're still going to do the overnighter. We also are going to try to do more live streaming to the dining hall from the observatory for those that we can't fit through it. You can fit look through the eyepiece at some rate of Scouts per night. When we have 300 Scouts in camp, that's a little hard to make them all look through this little eyepiece at the top of the stairs and go down the other side. So it will take a while for all of our Scouts to be able to truly visit and experience it. Those taking the astronomy merit badge will be prioritized. We'll have some extra opportunities for those that are in camp. All right, I'm gonna move to the next slide, which I think is going back to Michael Conover.
Yep, it's me again. So some of our merit badge offerings have age required minimums. These are mostly made for the Scouts' health and safety in mind. Everything from whether a Scout is, I'm not going to read off all of the merit badges. You can do that on your own time. But things like, rifle and shotgun, Scout needs to be able to, handle some amount of recoil. Cowboy action shooting 14 plus, that's a national standard in place. So keep some of these in mind while signing your Scouts up for camp. Sometimes there might be a case-by-case basis, and we understand that comes up. Send us an email. We can chat with you offline if there is a certain special exception for that. Next slide, please.
We have the Michael and Michael show, ping pong between the two of us. It's my turn to serve. We are so excited to be able to offer expanded campership opportunities this year. The gentleman that was excited to be a part of our program, Gary Robinson, has a grandson that is passionately involved in scouting in Gilroy. And at the Distinguished Citizens Dinner this year, we raised a ton of money for Camperships to be able to offer it to all Scouts that want to. We do have a deadline rapidly approaching, just over a week and a couple days. And that will be the end of our Camperships because your final payment is due on the 15th. So that gives us time for Janet and I to review them with the guidelines that we've been provided, get them applied and made so that we don't have to deal with refunds on the back end. So please get your Camperships in. There's a scan me. It's on the items and we'll include it here. To date, we've had over 100 Campership requests, and we're so excited to be able to provide those. Special shout out to Janet for helping make all those connections happen. If you've seen an email from us and haven't responded, we do have a small number of scouts that aren't in the system yet. We can't apply that Campership to them until their name is into the system. So please work on that this week between now and the final deadline. All right, let's go back to Bruce.
All right. Done with the Michael show for a few moments. So we have a couple events coming up at High Sierra. One is our annual Adopt a Campsite. This is where you can come up to High Sierra and help us set up camp for the summer. We will be more than happy to do all the cooking for you. So you don't need to worry about bringing food, doing anything. Just come on up and help us put up some tents. The charge is $30 per person. And it's a great experience to come up and see camp for the younger scouts that have never been there before. So they know what they're getting into for the whole summer. We also have an ordeal coming up on May 31st through June 2nd, and that you need to be registered with the OA and getting permission to come up with the OA, but more than welcome. So the first one again is the Adopt a Campsite, May 24th through Sunday, May 26th, and then the ordeal on the 31st through June 2nd. Next slide.
All right, payments are me and the Janet show. We have our last payment coming between now and April 15th. So any additional scouts after that or any payments not made in full have a $25 late fee. We would rather you spend that at our trading post versus having fees. We really want to make sure that everybody is paid, that we've got all the things taken care of. Of course, we'll continue to add people right up until camp if we need to, but let's chase those parents that are still on the fence and get those funds into us. We accept any form of payment except for your firstborns. They don't bounce as well as they used to. So please help us with that. Oops. My mouse went too far, sorry. All right, we're back to the Bruce show.
All right, back to this. So Black Pug is taking care of this much better than we used to have with our old process, but there are fees for certain merit badges as shown there. So archery, rifles, shotgun, pottery, welding, metalworking, and small boat sailing. Those usually will get paid through Black Pug as you're signing your scouts up. It doesn't need to be there actually for the day of registration, but it does need to get paid either before you get to camp or the first thing we're going to be asking you when you check in is to settle up on the merit badge fees. So that's something you're going to have to work with the parents or however your troop settles up the extra fees for the different merit badges. We do not use blue cards. We are a purely digital society in Black Pug. So if you do have a partial that's on a blue card, the scout can bring that up and we'll incorporate that into the Black Pug system. At the end of the week, we'll do a printout of all your scouts and all the merit badges that they had signed up for, and either that they're complete or they're partials. And if they're partials, it'll show what requirements they still need to complete. And we can go over those on Fridays with you if you have any questions. Again, please carpool because we do have a relatively small parking lot. And if we get too many people just all bringing their own cars, we get gridlock and it's like leaving the Bay Area at Friday at 4 o'clock. It doesn't work. Hopefully we'll have campfires in our campsites all summer, but condition is based on what CAL FIRE tells us. So if we get into a red fire zone, a red flag warning, we may have to suspend having fires in campsites, but hopefully we won't. So, but we just wanted to give you the heads up on that. All right, next slide, please. All right, so we have merit badge signups coming up. It is done first come, first serve. So if you are part of week 1 on May 20th at 7 p.m., the server gets turned on and you can log in and start signing your scouts up for merit badges. Hopefully before this time, you've already gone into Black Pug and entered all your scouts that are going to summer camp, because you don't want to spend the time entering the scouts information before you want to sign them up for merit badges. You want to have that all out of the way. So all you have to do is sign them up. So weeks 3 and 4 are both going to happen on May 21st, and weeks 5 and 6 are going to happen on the 22nd. All right, next slide, please.
There's an important note here.
Oh, yeah.
Black Pug does offer a parent portal in this, can be utilized, but I want to reiterate that Camp High Sierra has a very strong culture of having everybody be on at 7 p.m. And so some of the classes do fill within that first 10 or 15 minutes. And so we want to be fair to every group. We want everybody to be accessing the same information at the same time. And it really is important that you organize yourself and that you know what your scouts want and that you're in before it opens and stay there until you get the scouts the classes that they want. It's an inventory-based system. Once you drag it to the scout, that set of inventory is gone. A wait list is created, and things move around that way. It's a wait list per scout. It's not per troop. So if I'm first on the wait list as Michael Wilson, and my son Skylar is second on the wait list, Janet's third. If I drop, I can't give my spot to Janet. She's still now in second position. So it's really important that you come in a little bit before 7 that night. This team that's on here tonight will be around and available for support. Janet's going to talk about Black Pug in a second. We are here to help this be successful. We want your kids to have a fair chance at all the merit badges that we offer. Michael Conover and Dan, you really are planning an amazing program for you guys. So I want to pause and talk about that. I'll let Janet go next, talking about Black Pug itself.
Before we get into that real quick, just to go over what Black Pug is our merit badge sign up and unit and scout registration portal. So everybody will need to do this, and some of the questions I see coming up, I think Janet will answer now. So off to you, Janet.
Okay, so I don't see the questions, but I'll take a look at it after.
Yeah.
So as Bruce mentioned, we use Black Pugs for 2 years now. This is the second year, but we're still learning, but we're much better than last year. So just so you know. So everybody that needs to access to the troops registration needs an account, need a Black Pug account. Only the main contact person has a link to get you access to the registration. But the good thing is that link can be forwarded to anyone that needs access, as long as they have the Black Pug account. So if you can go to that website and click on register, and it will bring you to the registration page, and make sure you link yourself, your account to your troop. So you can see your roster, you can see your troops activity, you can see all type, camp rental, anything that your troops does, you will see under your registration and your account. So you just click to your name on the and you click profile, and you make sure you link yourself to your troop. And if you need help, you can go to our website, and we have tons of resources there for you regarding opening the account, how to manage the account, and how to manage, registration. We have very good resources there. Or you can email us at blackpug@svmbc.org, and the team of us will get that email and we'll get back to you. I think that's all I have, Bruce.
Okay. So at this time, what we're going to do is unmute everybody. And if you could raise your hand and we'll call on you and we'll try to answer any questions that we haven't caught in the chat. And we're going to, oops.
All right, I have enabled you to unmute yourself. And so I see Sean Dean as the first person that raised their digital hand.
Yep.
You can also, if you can't raise a digital hand, you can put your name in the chat and we'll call on you that way.
Yeah, I didn't see if you answered this in the chat because it got a little long there. But so typically, permanente physicians will sign off on a Form C if there's been a physical within the last 2 years, the last 48 months. And then their signature certifies that there are no respiratory, no cardiovascular contraindications to camp. So there was a comment made about recent vitals. What do you mean by a time frame for recent vitals? And which vitals are you looking for? That's gonna, as a permanente physician myself, we don't want to see a kids coming in because you guys want vitals 3 months before the visit when we've already certified that they can go to camp.
So it's basically just pulse, blood pressure, and BMI is what they're looking for. And it's on your form. It just sometimes doesn't get filled out. And for us,
what
go
time
ahead.
frame do you need that in? Because that's where.
So we have to have a current within 20 or within 1 year of them being at camp. So we need what we call our Part C or whatever your equivalent is. It has to be current for 12 months before they get there.
Can we give these kids a vitals check with our nursing staff? Because
Yeah,
we're
oh yeah,
well.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So then you are not going to accept the Kaiser form.
No, we are going to accept the Kaiser form.
Right, but unless it's within 12 months without an addendum involving.
Yes, it would have to have an addendum if it, I didn't realize the forms are good for 2 years for Kaiser.
The visit is good for 2 years. The forms are good. The forms can be redone every year, but we only see well visits every 2 years.
Gotcha. According to national standards, we have to have something within 12 months. So I'm not sure how you would work that.
I'm not sure how a lot of the parents are going to work that. That's because basically it's going to.
Well, we haven't had a problem in the past years, so they're figuring it out somehow. I'm not sure quite how they do it. I'm not a Kaiser patient myself.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah, if you can take a look and let us know, I'd appreciate that.
All right, we had, we're going to go to Justin next, and then we're going to go to Patricia after that, and then Sean will be in third place.
Thank you very much. Two quick questions. Well, maybe not. For Black Pug, I'm just trying to understand. So if I have like 38 scouts to register for merit badges, do I do them on block? So I've got them all in registered in Black Pug, etc. At 7 p.m. The magic happens. How does is it like a click and drag, or do I have to go scout by scout by scout to do each one of the merit badges, or is there a way to do it by group?
You have to go scout by scout by scout, Justin. But as Michael mentioned earlier, we have the parent portal that you can share to the parents and they can register their own scouts. Or, I see in the past, 4 or 5 leaders share the same login. And, 4 or 5 leaders divided the kids into 4 or 5 different groups.
Okay.
So each of you takes about 3, 4, 5 kids.
Yep.
And you can be responsible for those scouts.
Sounds good, because we got like 90, so we're trying to figure out how to make all that happen and get the scouts we want. So all right, you told me the magic. Second one, I've camped in canvas tents before. My question is not expecting inclement weather, but if it does rain, is this a thing where you would put should we bring plastic garbage? When I did this at my place in Tennessee, we put plastic garbage bags on the inside of the frame so it didn't get wet inside. Is that something we were going to need to do, or?
So the campus tents are waterproof. They're
Great.
impregnated with oil or something so except for holes that either varmints or scouts with knives have made in them, they are pretty watertight.
So I was going to explain, because I can, what our Black Pug system looks like. So I'm showing you my kids going to Eagle Week. And so you can drag and drop what is going on. So I just removed my son Caden from welding, and it took it out of the inventory. And I'm going to go now add him back. There's no save, there's no nothing. It's just there. Right. So move forward. And so if I wanted to go find welding, it's going to show up here, 2 spots left. It'll tell you age restrictions. It'll tell you when it's being taught, how many. So you can look at, okay, I want communications, or I want that. How many spots, the class full, and the like. So it's a simple search feature.
Yeah, no, I've done it individually for my 2 kids, but now that we're doing a whole bunch, you answered the question, which is we should probably divide and conquer. So,
yep. Awesome. Just don't work on the same kid at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. We had Patricia next, and then Sean after that.
Yes, good afternoon to all. I have a question regarding the merit badges. I know they mentioned earlier, they said there's fees for certain merit badges, right? And then would it be helpful if there was a page, or I don't know if you guys are going to print out a page where it shows the merit badges that each kid could sign up, so that way we can kind of talk to the kids on the merit badges so they're able to decide which ones they want to sign up. When that link opens up at 7 o'clock, we know which child is interested in which one.
Okay. So that is on our website.
Okay.
It's called the program guide, and it does show you all the merit badges and what time during the day they're offered. So you can make up and work with your scouts to figure out what blocks they want to take what merit badges, and you can have that all ready for when Black Pug opens up, and you can just register them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. I have Sean next, and then I've got Kimberly Parsons, and then I have Clayton. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Sean.
Okay, so my question is, I was just I'm actually still on another Golden Gate Area Council, and they were saying that you need Form C for anyone that's going to spend the night at a camp, regardless if it's only one night or if it's all 6. They said that came from national, so I'm not sure if that's correct or if that's just the Golden Gate Area Council that's doing that, but they said it came from national.
Okay.
So I want to check on that because I will have
that's
some.
definitely something I can follow up on, and if it is changed, we'll email that out to let you know.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks for the catch.
Perfect. Now we have Kimberly and then Clayton.
So, quick question about scouts who have dietary needs. How do we get that information to you guys besides what we put on Black Pug? Do we need to send that to you ahead of time, or
So that's a great question. I'll take that one. So Black Pug is definitely the first line of attack. So depending on what the issue is, you can call me at camp the week before camp, and I'd be more than happy to either work with the scout leader or the parent and go over whatever food allergies or special needs that are needed, and we will make sure that you're provided for. We also have a place that you can bring up food and put it in a refrigerator, and so you can have special dietary needs there also in camp. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, we've got Clayton up next. And if you want to raise your hand, I'll put your name in the chat. We'll call on you after Clayton.
All right, thanks. So I have a question about the council check of health forms. If you do the pre-check, does that change your check-in process at camp, or do you still have to go through every health form when you arrive at camp?
No, it will change your process if they've been checked by our council office, or if you go through the new electronic forms that we're doing and they've been checked. It will speed your process through the health lodge. So instead of having to go through each individual form with each individual kid, we will basically just band all the kids and only talk to the kids that have, let's say, inhalers or EpiPens or anything that the health officer wants to talk to those persons, but we'll be able to flag them beforehand and hopefully give you a list before, as you check into the office, saying that we want to talk to these 3 scouts or whatever.
Do
And
we
to be
do
to
we
be
get
clear on
like
that,
are the forms like marked somehow, or does the council keep our forms? How does the camp know that we did the pre-check?
So the forms will be marked. We'll mark them on the forms themselves, and we will keep them and bring them up the week before. We have people coming up on Thursday. We have usually our scout executive that comes up on the Thursday before, or every Thursday. So they'll bring up the health forms for the following week, and our health officer will go through and double check everything and have those ready.
and to be clear, the CampDoc is will be the fastest of the options because of digital reporting is always faster than the human side of things. And so if you do opt into that, that will be the smoothest through the health lodge because it will make reports that we can utilize directly. So we're looking for a mixture of small troops, large troops, all weeks to be able to test this.
And one thing that's important on either the electronic version or the paper version is the box that says, can we give over-the-counter medications? So if your scout ends up in the health lodge with a headache or allergies or something, if that box isn't checked, we can't give your scout anything until we get a hold of you. Obviously, if you want us to get a hold of you before we give them Tylenol or something, that's fine too. But that's a box that only goes unchecked. So just wanted to toss that out there.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So there was a question. We're going to answer a couple questions in the chat, and then we'll go to Dunwoody. Carlos asked the question: do we need to have the adult confirmation form completed for registration and training for our adults? So if you are a council that does Black Pug at home, those informations are shared between councils as long as you have your BSA ID. If not, then we will be looking for verification forms per council because that's what is certified by your registrar and sent in ahead of time. If you live outside the state of California, i.e. you're in Nevada or Arizona, you do not need to comply with AB 506 fingerprinting or training. It only applies to California residents. You will just need your youth protection and verification that you are a registered member of Scouting America. Janet, you want to answer the question about multiple IDs and from Dan Sell in the chat, please? You can answer directly in the chat. And then we're going to take Dunwoody. Emily, you'll be next.
Hi, this is Dan and Tammy. We were just wondering, so one unit will share the same password and user ID to enter in Black Pug all at once, correct?
With multiple people on the keyboards.
Yes.
But no, you don't share the same login. You share the same link that the main contact person received from Black Pug. But each of you should have your own, would need to have your own account, your own Black Pug account.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. There we go. I think go ahead.
Dunwoody?
Yeah.
All right. So forgive me, this is my first time, so I want to be thorough before I get questions from any of the scout parents. So with those forms, we don't need to actually get a copy of the health insurance cards, right?
No, that is one thing that will get uploaded electronically, or for the paper version, you will have to have a copy of all health insurance cards.
Front
Okay,
and back.
so if we have a paper, if we do the paper ABC, then we also need to have a photocopy of the front and back of their insurance card, right?
Yes, very much so. That is one of the things
And
that's often missing.
okay, and then do we need them to have a printout of their vaccine records, or is the form checkboxes sufficient?
The form checkbox is totally sufficient.
All right, and
With-
then last question, sorry,
With dates.
Yep.
what was that?
When you put in a vaccine, you need to
Date.
put what date they had it on.
Got it, okay. And then the last question is, I'm looking at the merit badge block schedule online, and I don't really know what I'm looking at. So when it has blocks and sessions, say for metal work, is that each day, or do they take one session and that's sufficient for the merit badge?
That's a great question. So the way we run our merit badges, they go Monday through Thursday. And so if you took metalworking first block or first period, they would go at 9 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday. If they don't complete everything, then Friday is for makeups.
Okay. So when they're planning which merit badges they want to do, they need to be cognizant of if they're in the same block or separate blocks and therefore plan.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And one other thing on the merit badges, it's a little tricky for someone new, is if they're taking merit badges like archery, climbing, or rifle, there is a qualify period that they also have to take. So if you take archery in the morning first period, sometime in the afternoon, you have to take a qualify period with that. So it's a 2-block class for those ones I just mentioned.
Oh, okay. And it's the qualify somewhere on the.
It will show up in Black Pug. It'll say first period, fourth period, first period, fifth. So it shows you the individual classes with the qualifies in the afternoons.
Okay, on Black Pug.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Emily, you're up next, and then I've got a question that I'm going to answer in the chat.
Hi. So I was wondering, I had just a couple questions. Do we need 2 copies of the health forms or just one?
Just one.
Okay. Thank you. And then I know you kind of already answered this, but I didn't really understand. So you're verifying that we have like the AB 506 because we're in California, and our YPT for the adults, you're verifying that online, or we need to bring like a printout of.
So if you're in council, it automatically gets verified.
Okay.
If you're on the Black Pug system in your own council, it gets verified.
Okay.
If your council doesn't use Black Pug, then there will be a form that your registrar will have to fill out.
Okay, perfect. We're in council, so it should all be verified that way. Okay, I just didn't want to show up without the right stuff.
I appreciate that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
We had a good question in the chat about Senior Patrol Leader Week. And so I wanted to have Michael or Danny answer what is Senior Patrol Leader Week and what is SBL 101, and then I'll expand on some of the details around it. So Michael, Danny, arm wrestle, which one's going first? Danny, I'm muted, so it's Danny.
I guess that's me.
I'm like,
'cause
Danny
I'm the one who
goes
gets to
over it
run
in a
that.
given week.
Sorry, I'm looking for the question so I could specifically answer what it was.
It was a private message to me. So it was, what is SBL
okay.
101 and how does a troop take advantage of the SBL offer that we make? So I'll answer the SBL offer if you could just talk about SBL 101.
Cool. So SPL 101 is a program that I'm going to be running during 3rd session. So that's going to be the session right before lunch. And it's going to be a mix of leadership training as well as some like team building stuff with the other SPLs that are there during the SPL week, though your SPLs can also sign up for it if they're there just as a general camper with your troop. We're going to be looking at things like working on the patrol method and how you could utilize that within the troop, looking at various leadership styles, and just generally building on their capabilities as SPLs to support their time at camp, as well as just them within the troop.
Perfect. And then there was a question about SPL week. So we offer a free week to any of the senior patrol leaders that would like to come to camp so that they can provide senior patrol leader level leadership while they're in camp. So the idea is, hey, I'm a senior patrol leader of a good sized troop. We've got a couple troops here, 50, 60, 90 people, right? Your job is to corral those big kitty cats that we call scouts to make sure that they're going to their classes, that they're doing their steward duty, that they're performing at a top level. That does not allow as much time for merit badges as one might normally take. So we offer an alternative week to those key one person in your unit. This year's a little different. You can't come before week one because that's our staff week. You can't come after week one because that's our Eagle week. So 3, 4, 5, and 6, you are welcome to come and be a senior patrol leader and have an extra week at camp as a cost to the council, to the camp, not to the scouts. They're responsible for their own merit badge fees, but not the week cost of camp. So a non-as senior patrol leader can attend SPL 101. Absolutely. It's a merit badge that they can, not a merit badge, a session that anybody can sign up for. It's designed for senior scouts. Do not have an 11 or 12-year-old in that class. It's not designed for them, designed for those, what I call usually 14 through 17-year-olds that are trying to better themselves about that and have that same group of community around them. So we had some good questions about that. We'll send out a follow-up email on how to do that. It is a password protected sign-up process so that it doesn't get into circulation. So Janet and myself will help distribute that. chs@svmbc.org will get you to us and we'll be able to help you. I'll put that in the chat as well. All right. Do we have any other raised hands? Don't see any. Bruce, do you see any?
I do not. One thing to let everybody know is when you do get a copy of this slide deck, after the slide that says questions, you'll see a bunch more slides. These were ones that for time constraints, we didn't want to put up there for you, but we thought they were still valuable to include them in the slide deck. So if you do have any questions on those, please reach out to us, but I think they're pretty self-explanatory. And there's some of the questions we talked about tonight. So they are there and we did put them after the question on purpose, but we thought they were good to include.
So there was a good question in the chat about swimmer test. We do all swim tests in camp. We do not take an outside of camp swim test. We are at 5,000 feet. Our water was snow 5 minutes ago. And so we want to see every swimmer come through a swim test in camp. There are final choices for classes that after they sign up are available as a report in Blackpug. You can print individual scouts, you can print the roster, you can download it in multiple forms. One thing that Blackpug, the registration system, is really good at is reporting. All right. If you weren't able to raise your hand but would like to, oh, there we go. Ibrahim and then Sean.
Hey there, just had a question in the chat about for new ASMs and IOSL training. How do new ASMs sign up for that?
Well, that's a good question too. When you sign up in Blackpug and you enter your name in there as an adult leader, it gives you the option to take classes just like the scouts. So after you've got all your scouts registered, you can go ahead and drag the little icon over for OLS or Scoutmaster Fundamentals and sign up for it then. Or you can wait until you're at camp and sign up at that point too. We'll take as many Scoutmasters as we can.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, then we've got Sean and then Tehran.
Yeah, just a question about wetsuits at Wolfboro last year. Some of the kids, including mine and I, brought wetsuits, and they were a transformative experience. Will they be permitted for the swim test?
We're working with National on that to see what their feeling is on it, but a tentative yes, because the water is very cold.
All right, Tarun?
Hi, I would like to know that do my scouts I already have them in the Black Bug site. Many of them have the BSA member ID verified. A couple of them don't. Is that necessary? I would imagine so before I can sign them up for merit badges. Is that correct?
It's a great question. I'll take that one. If you're in our council, 498 is a Silicon Valley one. It usually means that either the spelling is wrong, the date of birth is off, or they're not registered in scouting. Because if you filled them in from the roster, that means
Yeah,
they're
that's what I did.
registered. And so if the little lightning bolt isn't there, means that we would want you to message us, and we'd want to work on that before we sign them up for classes in 6 weeks. So chs@svmbc.org. Give us a couple names, and we'll work on it between Janet, myself, and Jasmine to get those scouts verified.
Okay, thank you.
The main area where you're going to see problems is at the back end when you try to import the classes they've completed into Scout Book. That's where it's going to hang up.
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure that I do it the right way so the scouts get credit for the work they do in summer camp. Yeah.
Right, so we're coming up on the 1 hour. We want to be conscious of everybody's time tonight, and we appreciate everybody coming. We'll take a few more questions here, and then a few of us will hang on for another 5 minutes or so. But I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Michael, do you have any closing?
We know you have many choices for summer camp. We're thrilled that you chose us. We try to make sure that we communicate as clearly as possible. There'll be questions that come up. Feel free to email us, and we'll continue to answer them. We'll continue to communicate as we get closer to the merit badge signups. If there's something that is an error or something that we want to address or fix, we'll email everybody. Really appreciate the fact that as adults, you're taking time out of family life to come to camp. We try to do the best we can to make sure that you get as much training as you want and nap in safely, and that camp is a recharge for you. Michael, Conover, Danny, Tom, Janet, and Bruce really care about the youth that you are bringing to make sure that they have an amazing experience, that this is a highlight for the year. So please let us know how we can improve that when you're in camp. Please let us know how we can continue to serve the youth of our movement the best we can. We're really looking forward to a couple new things going on in camp this year. Looking forward to what camp is and what critical part it can play in both advancement and as well as Scouts growth. We'll be here answering some more questions, answering them in the chat, and we'll plan on being here till about 8:10 and go from there. But at this point, we'll focus in on the chat for the next 5 minutes or so, and then we'll have one more round of questions if somebody would like to ask it. Thank you all. Have a great evening, and we'll be sending out recording and buildings. So, all right.
Hi, Michael. If I can take a little more time, a little more of your time. If everyone else is off and doesn't have questions. So again, a question about the vitals thing. It affects me both professionally and personally. So for updated, if the Form C is complete, for updated vitals, do you just want a printout of like does it have to go back to the physician to be re-signed as a separate page, or do you want like a vitals printout from any recent visit, whether it be nursing or otherwise?
So if it is, are you talking Kaiser's Part C or National's Part C?
So I'm anybody. So
Okay,
you know,
so for national, it just that gets done when the doctor visit happens, and then that's all we need. For the Kaiser one, it's just there's their own form, and there's a spot where they say vitals, and a lot of times that's left blank.
okay, so you don't need a date on that. You just need it on the form.
I just need to have it not be blank. Yeah, just something on the form.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
helpful. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'd be doing a whole.
The examiner certification is what's the big deal for this, which is height and weight, heart loss, right? And so when you look at it, that's the thing that our in camp folks are really paying attention to. So when you look at a national Part C, latest version is a 2019 printing. The last page under examiner certification really is what we're trying to make sure that Kaiser's form achieves, and that the data is within 12 months. So that's what we're trying to weave, requiring only the BSA form versus requiring saying, okay, we can take Kaiser and we can take the BSA form.
So do you need a signature, a provider certification within 12 months, or do you need the data to be within 12 months? Because that is an important distinction. We will certify people that we haven't seen in 16 months, say, if they're up to date on, what they need to know.
They need to have, my understanding, and I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, so I'm only slightly qualified on this, is that it is that they've been seen, and the health provider is certifying that they've been, it's a 12, within the last 12 months, they've been certified to do this. So at this point, I think we'll take it offline and have a further conversation. Sure. Going to be more knowledgeable than I might be, and I might need to ask some questions and take it back.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
No worries. All right. There's some good questions in the chat, but Lita has a question with her hand raised.
Hi. Yeah. I have a question about the merit badge. So basically, for example, if the scout want sign up for the certain classes, and we pay for do we pay in advance for the merit badge, or how does work? I'm new to this scout.
Yeah, it's a great question. So there'll be a troop level invoice available, and so you would normally pay that before you get to camp. If you haven't paid before you got to camp, it'll be the first thing that we take care of when you check in at our office. So we love doing paperwork and payments before we get to camp, so we can just have enjoyment in camp.
Now, my question is, what if the scout decide not to take class, and what to do with the extra merit class or leftover?
So go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, so we do process refunds because we do understand scouts do sometimes change their mind, but those refunds will not get processed until August, September timeframe. So after summer camp.
After summer camp. Okay.
All right, did we have some questions in the chat, you said, Michael?
They're getting answered as we go. So I was seeing if Michael, Tom, or Danny had one that they wanted to call out to be verbalized. Didn't hear any.
I think we hit all of them except for the latest one, which is there a list of forms that we should bring per scout? Seeing a lot on the website. I have ABC, shooting sports permission, that's all.
So there also will be a form saying that the parent is giving permission for a scout to to do certain merit badges. So in some merit badges, it'll say with parents' permission. So we don't want to just imply, since they're coming to camp, that they have the parents' permission. So there'll be a form they'll have to sign for that.
All right. All right. It
Thank
is
you.
Yeah, no worries. It is that magical time. Anybody has another question? Um, uh, feel free to verbalize it. I saw one more say that they had a question. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Maitri. I have a question.
Sure.
For the adults that ILST training, is it like a 1 day training or like the whole week?
So it is the whole week. It's just
Oh,
one. It's just one block, depending on what you're taking. Some could be the mornings for the whole week, Monday through Thursday being the whole week, or just an hour in the afternoon.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I do have a last question, maybe.
Sure.
Basically for the classes, what is there the grade periods that the scout is supposed to be there, like 15 minutes late, or what? It will be a cutoff time.
So I think you're asking about adds and drops, basically. If a scout isn't there for the first day, we drop them on the second day. But we can make up the first day if they don't show up until the second day for some reason. And if you want to add a class and you're on a waiting list, that's where we take the people that have dropped out and we add them into the class. So they need to come the first day. If they're dropping a class, it would help for them to obviously do it before they get to camp. But if the system's been closed like it does the week before in camp, they would actually go to the instructor and say, I'm dropping metalworking first period, and that would open it up for somebody else.
Okay. Well, aside I think the first day, what I mean is like on the same day, if or the second day, the scout late, is then the grade period for the closing the class, or have to be there's
Well,
no period.
it's only 5 minutes between just about everywhere in camp in the
Mhm.
Maribel area, so hopefully they're not too late.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
They're either trying to take a nap in their campsite or in the trading post playing chess or checkers. So
Yeah.
we can chase
Well,
them collectively out of those.
it's I just try to cover the possibilities. Thank you.
Yeah, now if you have a scout obviously with some special needs of any type that might have mobility issues or whatever, we can definitely deal with that separate.
Noted. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Danny, for answering adult education and activities. He was faster than Conover by a long shot.
I'm still crafting an excellent response. I don't know what's happening.
There was a good question in the chat about swapping out with somebody. I would assume that's an adult, Jim Lim. Yes, you can have what we call partial weeks. So that's a way to sign up inside Black Pug where you can split it between two people. And you only pay for the meal that you might overlap with each other, which is a great way to do that. If you're going to be doing that more, it would be paying by the day otherwise.
Well, sorry about that. Yeah, what I meant was for the scout itself, meaning that can we swap sessions between scouts? For example, if I couldn't make it for session 1, can I swap with somebody from session 2? In the sense, in terms of blocking. No. Okay.
Yep.
So it would take the next person on the waiting list.
Yep. Yeah, everybody has their own individual list and the waiting list is in order. So there's no swapping with inside the troop. It's just whoever got that slot at a time. So if I'm metalworking block 1 and I drop that session, the next person on the waiting list gets it.
Oh, and can adults drop into, like, if I wanted to go weld something, or sorry, like, make a knife at metalwork, or is that?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of adult classes in the evenings. We have metalworking, we have Scoutmaster Shoot. We have definitely times for the adults to drop in and do things.
But the key there is not during the regular merit badge sessions. For those there keeping focus on the scouts themselves. All right. I think it's the appointed time that we're gonna stop answering questions so that we can all either eat dinner, see our loved ones, or snooze, whichever version you want to take. So thank you one and all for your time tonight. Look forward to seeing you around the campfire and in the non-3D regular, no Hollywood Squares, real life. Appreciate everybody. You guys have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.